take issue with the media here because it incenses me how they write about you. This is the New York Times, and this is not the op-ed page. Okay, if it was the op-ed page, I get it. In chat with Musk, Kennedy pushes right-wing ideas and misinformation. Right away, I'm pissed off because misinformation. Okay, how about you're the newspaper? Just tell me what he said, and I'll decide what's misinformation. This arrogance of, we know what the misinformation is about science. I read an article in the New York Times, so you know it must be true. That's where the doctor said, I remember it was Navarro, and she said, nothing in medicine is fixed or precise, unlike other sciences. I thought, that says it exactly how I feel. Nothing in medicine, it's not like other sciences. Like some others. I mean, okay. Anyway, that's their headline. Already you're into misinformation. So you're on with the increasingly rightward-leaning chief executive Elon Musk. So now we have him painted.
Do you consider Elon Musk right-wing?
No.
I consider him like an ultra-liberal.
I consider him a genius. Well, that's obvious. But his heart's in the right place. I think by his own admission, he's a little spectrum-y, and he does some cuckoo things that you just have to accept in him. And they seem fairly benign in the general, even though they are, head smackers. You're like, why did you say that? What was that really necessary to, whatever. But in general, I think if anybody's going to figure out like how to save the planet kind of shit, we should like not piss off people like that. Okay, so Kennedy, who announced, is himself a leading vaccine skeptic and has promoted other conspiracy theories. See, I love this. They go right from he's a vaccine skeptic and other. See, if you're a skeptic, everything else is a conspiracy theory right along with it. Yet he has consistently hovered around 20%. Like that also, the arrogance of, what be going on in the minds of these morons who are gathering to his candidacy? Okay, so they talk about Ukraine, the Mexican border. See, this is something I also agree with you with. He said pharmaceutical drugs were responsible for the rise of mass shootings in America.
Yeah, I didn't actually say that.
I'm sure you didn't.
No.
But the general
I said it should be looked at.
It should, and it's, you know what, I don't even have to look at it. It is part of the issue.
Yeah.
The gun issue is a number of things. If people could wrap their head around more than one thing at once, yes, it's about too many guns and the Second Amendment. It's also about violence in movies and TV shows and seeing every fucking...
or how about video games?
And video games,
Yeah.
but having a 12-year-old boy see every issue solved by way of a gun. No, that has no effect on it. And yes, the kids are on fucking drugs. They're on Prozac. Is that the main one that? But they're all on sort of these pharmaceutical.
There's been lawsuits. So the Columbine lawsuit, which was settled, there was 5 kids who sued because the shooter was on SSRIs, and that is
SSRI.
Those are serotonin inhibitors.
I see.
And those the serotonin inhibitors have black box warnings on them that says suicidal and homicidal ideation. Oh, it's not, so it's an obvious culprit. And by the way,
thank you for putting it. It's an obvious culprit that is treated in this paper as if it's an idea that we need to kill in the crib.
Yeah.
When it's not. It's okay.
And there's a study out there that shows that 23% of mass shooters were on, SSRIs. Oh, correlation doesn't prove causation.
No.
It's not proof, but it's something that we should be looking at. And by the way, we're the only country in the world that uses this much, antidepressant SSRIs. And we've always had guns. I mean, when I was a kid, there were schools that I went to where we had shooting clubs, and the kids brought their rifles to school and practiced. So kids always had access to guns.
Right.
And they weren't going into the shoes. There's no time in American history or human history that kids were going to schools and shooting their classmates. It happened, it really started happening coterminous with the introduction of these drugs, with Prozac and the other drugs. And the countries like Switzerland have almost as many or comparable numbers of guns that we do. And the last mass shooting they had was 21 years ago. We have one every 21 hours. Oh, it's not.
And then you also add in 2010, when everybody got a smartphone?
Yeah.
That is also, we've seen 1,000 articles about how it's rewiring the brain.
Yes.
So all these things are responsible, but it's. I guess the question for you.
I mean, what NIH should be doing, because their portfolio is to protect human health, is to actually do real studies on this stuff, and they won't. They won't because they don't want to offend the big shots, the video game companies, the cell phone companies, the telecommunication industry, or the pharmaceutical industry. So they instead have that's why they won't study vaccines either, vaccine safety or vaccine risk, because they do not want the answer, and that's why they won't study. Why? Look, let's say I'm wrong, and autism did not come. That vaccines are not a factor in this exponential growth in autism. Let's say I'm wrong about that. And all of the studies that I've cited, hundreds of studies that suggest that are wrong, okay? Well, then what is it? Something happened. The CDC's own data show we went from 1 in 10,000 people having autism in my generation and your generation to 1 in every 34 in my kids' generation. So what happened?
Okay,
something happened. And it could be, EPA did a study. Congress said to EPA, what year did the epidemic start? EPA said it's a red line. It happened in 1989. That's when the autism epidemic started. So you have to look at a toxin that became ubiquitous around 1989. And there are a number of things it could be. It could be glyphosate.
I am very sympathetic to this theory.
It could be cell phones.
But why? Yes.
It could be.
But why did
neonicotinoid
Okay,
pesticides.
but this is what they're going to say to you, and I need to know the answer to this. Then why have they done many, many studies, including ones that were not funded by the pharmaceutical industry, and including ones from other countries, that all found out, they all came to the conclusion, autism, no connection to vaccines at all. I agree with you. I am skeptical of this. I think they just don't want to.
There's 14 studies. I can go through each one of them, and they were all, they're epidemiological studies.
So they're just lying when they say there's no studies?
Of course. There's 14 studies, but on the side that shows that autism is caused by vaccines, there's over 100 studies. I, in fact, did a book in which I listed all of those studies and digested them, in other words, summarized them all, and you can go and source them. And I have over 450 studies summarized, and I have 1,400 citations.
Okay. The question for your campaign is...
I'm not talking about this stuff on my campaign. I'm just talking between you and me.
That's a ridiculous assumption. Of course you're going to have to talk about it.
If somebody asks me, I'm going to.
They're all going to ask you. Are you serious?
No,
this is all they're going to ask you about. You think they're your friends who want to help you?
They don't want to hear
They want to go to the most vulnerable point, which is you're a kook because you don't believe in vaccines. That's not me talking. I don't believe that, but that's what they will.
But do you believe I don't believe in vaccines?
Hey, thanks for watching the clip. Hit the subscribe button now so you never miss out on our Club Random content that's posted daily.